Is Larry Bird better than LeBron James? B-ball breakdowns about to break it down. I won't give you what my thoughts are, but I'm definitely interested to see what this video will say.
Coach Nick here, and Will BJ versus B. Larry Bird and LeBron James has been an interesting conversation on Twitter recently. Let me make one thing really clear. LeBron James has the highest basketball IQ of anybody in his generation, or certainly the top two.
I think his IQ is a bit overrated, but this video is about 8 years old, just to give you context.
And I think it might even get him in trouble because he thinks he knows a lot more than the coach does, which is debatable. Maybe he does. But either way, I want to make that clear as I make a nice comparison between him and Larry Bird's career and how they were very different but equally valuable and productive on the court. So if you want to dismiss Larry Bird so quickly because the footage of him is getting grainier and grainier every year that goes by, take a second, check out this argument, and then see what you think between Larry Bird and LeBron James. When examining the career of LeBron James, you have to start with his body. At 6'9" and chiseled like a statue, his raw power and explosion is inspiring. And the majority of his defining plays are ferocious dunks that reduce other professionals who...
Do you agree with that statement? They were equally valuable to their teams. Let me know in the comment section.
Whimpering children hurrying for cover as flying death machine strafes the NBA. While there is no question he's got serious skill, it's his athletic ability that has allowed him to ascend to the top of the game and stay there for so many years. Larry Bird also has had his share of dunks. It's usually forgotten that before injuries took their toll, Bird could move around the court pretty well. He doesn't necessarily elevate too high. He had no problem getting to the basket and finishing up near the rim amongst the trees.
I remember making a meme that just said, the glitch you want to see in the Matrix.
Well, let's start out by looking at their passing. Both have extraordinary
both are 6.5, LeBron almost 7.
Numbers at the forward. And while you might glance at this number and assume better, it's important to dive into the footage to see the similarities and subtle differences that exist between them. Both have a flair for the entertaining pass, looking for ways to quickly get the ball.
Put into context, turnovers. If you're getting 7 assists a game but 3 turnovers, not really good. If you're getting 10 assists a game and 3 turnovers, that's a different story. So I hope he goes into how many turnovers they each had as well. As you can throw the ball as many times as possible to your teammate, every third pass and assist is not efficient.
Teammate before the defense can close. Sometimes the overhead pass is the only way to get it there. Bird was unparalleled at creative ways to deliver that ball from over his head. Neither player was worried about getting down on the floor after loose balls, always with their heads up to get the ball to a streaking teammate. A great basketball IQ and incredible court vision passes at time, providing Celtics fans with a lot of something he got the opportunity to do much more often in the low post heavy 80s. Both LeBron and Larry could thread the needle better than just about anybody else in the league, with a brilliant mixture of both touch, accuracy, and power.
That was crazy pass.
Strength allowed him to make long, down-court passes right on the numbers, be an overhead bounce pass from 35 feet or even 60 feet, or a full-court baseball pass right in the hands. And Bird maximized his athletic ability by being ahead of the play and possessing the most accurate baseball pass of all time. LeBron definitely had a sense of entertainment when he could dazzle the audience with no-look passes, flying behind-the-back dimes to bigs down low, or wrap-around lasers to get you out of your seat. Bird didn't have that athletic ability, but he'd scrap for the loose balls and still had the presence of mind to find a pass to a teammate who could score, all while on his back. Any deficit he had as an athlete, he more than made up for in heart, desire, and smarts. Speaking of heart, one of the reasons Larry Bird's career was marred with injury was his uncompromising will to go after loose balls. I'm sure he wouldn't have had it any other way.
Do you believe Larry Bird is also a big what if? Because from my assessment, his career was cut very short due to injuries. I don't know how many seasons he played, if it's 13 or 14, but his career is definitely cut very short.
While inspiring, also cut years off his career in a way LeBron never did. He was so fast to begin with, he'd get these balls before it got too close to the sideline. Looking at their scoring, they both filled up the nets with comparable numbers, and at their heights, they could lead the league in scoring no matter how good their teammates were. However, there wasn't too much similarity in the way they scored. It was clear Larry had to score by any means necessary. He didn't blow by guys regularly, so he needed to keep defenders off balance with great ball fakes and shot fakes, which stemmed from his killer jump shot, which extended all the way to three-point
with more skill.
range. The defense had to pick him up as early as possible, or he'd stick a dagger in their eye. While it might not have been as aesthetically pleasing as a Jordan or Dr. J, he simply had the ability to make shots from all over the court, the angle, anytime. Aside from the similarities between these two shots, The contrast, LeBron's scoring couldn't be bigger. While the 80s was dominated by cutting and post-ups, LeBron's era allowed him all sorts of pick and roll opportunities out top. And once he got going downhill, there were very few defenses that could have any hope of stopping him once he took off from the dotted line on in. His teams have always provided him with ample opportunities to isolate on his man one-on-one whenever he wanted. While he's had moments of being effective from deep, without question, he's made his living on sizing up his defender, putting his head down, just downshifting toward the hoop on a path of rim destruction. Another big difference is in transition. Bird would be part of a team fast break. He could finish with the best of them, but LeBron was always a man transition game. The rare player who simply couldn't be stopped unless bear hugged by two defenders, practically brought down to the ground. One area Larry was far superior in was his use of the left hand. There were sections of whole games he would only shoot with his offhand, and he had such control and touch with it, you'd never know exactly how to guard him once he got within 10 feet of the basket. I can't think of another player who used his ability to score with his offhand as often as Bird did. Even 25 years later, these are still the most impressive of his highlights, something LeBron cannot do.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
I like his breakdown. It's very educational.
Just by thinking about it. Eat base 44.
As for rebounding, Bird was simply better at it, testament to his tenacity and footwork, since he wasn't getting above the rim to snatch rebounds. He consistently grabbed more boards per game his entire career.
Wow.
While the spacing was different back then, and small forwards got to hang around the basket more, he still seemed more willing than LeBron to mix it up down low and grab the ball anyway. As for shooting, their overall field goal percentage.
Okay. Similar. Bird has a high 3-point percentage, almost 40. And honestly, you have to put this into context because scoring now is much easier than scoring then, by far. It was 8 years ago, so different 8 years ago, but scoring this time, far easier.
Percentages are remarkably. Bird was consistently among the best free throw shooters each season, while LeBron's best year at the line.
Okay. Bird's worst year 80%, LeBron's this year 78%. Damn.
Was still 6 points lower than Bird's worst year. Defensively, there wasn't much of a contest. LeBron would guard four positions, filling whatever role they needed, from shutting down the point guard and handling the power forward down low. His most profound finals moment wasn't an offensive move, but an incredible block that saved Game 7 for the Cavs.
Man, I think this block is overrated because there's almost 2 minutes left in the game, and the shot that came after the block is what people are trying to tie it to. The block was with 2 minutes left, and they keep showing it, but they don't show Kyrie's shot. Why? A game winner in Game 7. A game winner in Game 7 for a franchise that never won a championship before. I don't know if the Cavs won before, but it's been a while. But game winner in Game 7 is not one of the top plays. The block is. If it was anybody else with that block shot, it wouldn't be as emphasized in the highlights. For sure.
And while he doesn't bring this kind of dominance consistently anymore, he's got it in him when he needs to call upon it. Bird was a smart defender and knew how to use his positioning to make up for his lack of quickness and strength. Interestingly, if you look at defensive win shares, Larry Bird actually ranks ahead of LeBron James by 1 spot. And that's because all of his basketball genius we saw on the offensive end translated ball as well. And when he was young and healthy, he made some plays that just might remind you of some of the things we saw LeBron do. His quick hands allowed him to strip the ball.
What? Was that him?
And in fact, he averaged the same amount of steals per game that LeBron does now. He was in the average to a little above average rank on defense, and when coupled with his elite offensive production, his overall impact on the game was still remarkable. In fact, looking at a modern stat like value over replacement player, Bird ranks 9th all-time in the NBA. That said, LeBron James ranks 1st all-time in this category, right above Michael Jordan. And that brings us to clutch performance.
I think he's no longer first.
At the very least, there was never ever a time when Bird was afraid to shoot the ball in those pressure situations. He would inevitably find some way to get open. Remember, they would hardly ever run a straight isolation out top and have him create out the dribble. Bird would flash open, find some sliver of daylight, get the jumper off. And these were moments when going to the basket wasn't preferable because the referees would...
How many game winners did he have?
Definitely let the players decide these games. Foul calls were hard to come by. So it made more sense to do your best to get off a clean look from the outside. Larry Bird was as good as anyone in this era, with his knack for being in the right place at the right time, dropping in shots from all angles and degree of difficulty. LeBron's clutchiness is a bit more complicated. Of course, he spent the first 7 years of his career on some pretty bad teams. He was forced to do it all.
He was not on bad teams, man. They were just not super teams, like the teams is on now. They were not bad teams. I'm sick and tired of people saying that. He was in a weaker conference. the majority of his career. So even though his teams were not as strong as some of the other teams, he was in a weaker conference. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
And he did have moments where he came through for him. He was also criticized at times for not taking the game-winning shot, even though I will defend him on some of these for making the right basketball play, something he's always been focused on doing to his credit. However, there have been a few times where he hasn't been the man down the stretch, and it has opened him up to quite a bit of criticism for not being that clutch player. Mark Stein wrote an article on ESPN.com about this. With the help of advanced analytics and play-by-play data, you can quantify how LeBron has shot when attempting a tying or go-ahead shot in the final 5 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime. As of March 1st of this year, he was a very mortal 5 for 47, or 10.6% the past 10 seasons, whereas the league average on these shots is 20.
When was that? May 2016. So that stat began circulating amongst ESPN basketball brains not longer after LeBron just aired about potential winning hoist from three-point range last Friday in Toronto. The very contested miss lowered LeBron's regular season success rate to mere 10.6% the last 10 seasons. Wow. 5 of 47. That's crazy. And it's definitely lower percentage because we're currently 10 years later. Damn. Is this playoffs? Don't even know. I think it's playoffs.
0.7%. Of course, his finals performance over the last 3 games
playoffs.
this year did a lot to silence any critics on this matter, as he was the catalyst for an event that had never been done in the finals before, coming back from a 3-1 deficit and leading both teams in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. They each have 3 titles, and Bird was Finals MVP twice, while LeBron won it 3 times.
Well, Bird won 3 times, was Finals MVP twice. Who was Finals MVP the other time? Was it Kevin McHale? Was it Robert Parrish? Please let me know. I need to do more research when it comes to Larry Bird. Personally, I'm not a Larry Bird fan. I'm a basketball fan, so I'm interested to see history of the game, obviously. But let me know in the comment section.
So in the end, can we even make a fair comparison of 2 players from
Just because I'm not a fan doesn't mean I cannot appreciate him as a player. Just make sure I say that.
completely different eras? While Bird was doing the mullet, Bron was doing the headband. Basketball isn't always about who's the strongest and fastest and highest jumper.
Yeah.
Before his body began to break down, Bird wasn't as bad an athlete as he's made out to be. We can't blame him for getting injured. Bron has benefited from the miracle of modern. It's been remarkable how long he's played without serious injury. Made the volume of production deciding factor, then there's no question that LeBron James is better than Larry Bird. But if you want to look at sheer ability to make plays while at the height of their careers, then I'm not so sure it's that clear cut.
No, it is clear. Larry Bird in that regard.
Larry definitely had more skill. At the very least, it's a question you have to ponder long and hard with before making your decision.
Wow, that's a good breakdown. I know my answer. I'll pick Larry Bird over LeBron James, minus the longevity aspect. What about you? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching the video and reacting with me. I share, subscribe, stay tuned for more reaction videos.
Metro Boomin, want some more, nigga.